At first, it doesn't seem like a big deal. One less spoon in your coffee, skipping dessert, maybe avoiding a soda or two. But within a few days, you start to realize that cutting sugar isn't just about food. It's about chemistry. After 40, the way your body handles sugar changes completely. What used to be burned off effortlessly now sticks, inflames, and lingers. And when you finally decide to stop feeding that cycle, the transformation that follows isn't only physical. It's hormonal, mental, and deeply cellular. The truth is, sugar has never been neutral. It's not just empty calories. It's information. Every sweet bite tells your body how to behave, what hormones to release, where to store energy, and how to feel. When you're young, your metabolism can buffer those messages. Your liver is efficient, your muscles are sensitive to insulin, and your hormones rebound quickly. But by 40, small imbalances compound. Years of stress, processed food, and inconsistent sleep blunt insulin sensitivity. The same sugar that once gave you energy now leaves you foggy, bloated, and tired. Stopping sugar after 40 is like turning off background noise you didn't know was there. Suddenly you hear your body clearly again. The first thing that happens is withdrawal. Not emotional, but biological. Your brain runs partly on glucose, and for decades you've trained it to expect easy fuel. When that constant drip stops, dopamine temporarily drops. You crave the comfort hit that sugar once gave you. But within a few days, something extraordinary begins. Your brain rewires. Dopamine receptors that had been dulled by overstimulation start to reset. You feel calmer, clearer, less impulsive. The constant urge for something sweet fades, replaced by steadier focus. The highs and crashes that once defined your afternoons disappear. At the same time, your insulin sensitivity begins to improve. Every time you eat sugar, your pancreas releases insulin to escort glucose into your cells. But when that signal is triggered too often, cells stop listening. It's called insulin resistance, the gateway to fatigue, fat storage, and hormonal decline. When you stop flooding your system with sugar, your insulin levels stabilize. Suddenly, your body can access stored fat again for fuel. That's why people often notice weight dropping even without changing calories. It's not magic, it's access. Your metabolism wakes up because you've removed the block that was keeping it asleep. Within the first week, inflammation starts to calm. Sugar feeds inflammation by triggering oxidative stress and activating immune responses meant for real threats. Your joints feel stiffer, your skin duller, your recovery slower. That's sugar's silent tax. But once you cut it out, inflammatory markers drop quickly. Blood flow improves, tissues oxygenate better, and the first sign of change isn't visible weight loss. It's how you feel inside your body. The fog lifts. Your gut also begins to rebalance. The bacteria in your intestines live on what you eat, and sugar favors the growth of the wrong kind, strains that cause bloating, cravings, and fatigue. When you stop feeding them, the balance shifts. The microbes that thrive on fiber and complex nutrients return, supporting digestion, immunity, and even mood. You start waking up without the heaviness in your stomach that you once accepted as normal. Then comes the shift in energy curve. At first, you may feel tired because your body is switching fuel sources, from sugar to fat. But once it adapts, the energy you experience feels different. It's not a rush. It's a calm, steady flame that lasts all day. You stop crashing after meals. You stop needing snacks just to stay awake. That's metabolic flexibility returning, the ability to burn whatever fuel is available without panic. Meanwhile, your liver starts repairing itself. The liver is your metabolic command center, responsible for filtering toxins and managing blood sugar. Over years of sugar intake, it becomes overloaded, storing fat and losing efficiency. A condition called fatty liver, which affects millions unknowingly. When you cut sugar, the liver finally has space to clear stored fat and toxins. Within weeks, enzyme levels improve, and your digestion, skin, and even mood follow. Hormones begin to rebalance too. High sugar levels keep cortisol, your stress hormone, elevated. That constant pressure suppresses testosterone, slows thyroid function, and interferes with growth hormone release. When sugar intake drops, cortisol normalizes. The result is a rise in testosterone and metabolic rate. That's why men who reduce sugar after 40 often notice more drive, better recovery from workouts, and sharper mental clarity. You're not boosting hormones. You're removing what's been blocking them. Even your heart feels the difference. Sugar stiffens arteries, thickens blood, and promotes inflammation inside vessel walls. Without it, circulation improves. Blood pressure drops naturally. You may notice your hands and feet warming, your breathing deepening, your pulse slowing. It's not subtle, it's systemic. The body is remembering how to flow, but perhaps the most underestimated change happens in your sleep. Sugar disrupts the balance between cortisol and melatonin. Late-night snacks spike blood sugar, which crashes hours later, waking you with a racing heart or anxious thoughts. Once you cut sugar, your sleep deepens. You wake less often, and your dreams become more vivid, a sign that REM cycles are returning. Rest becomes real recovery again. The process isn't always comfortable. Your body has to relearn how to fuel itself, and that transition can feel strange. Headaches, mood swings, temporary fatigue. But every one of those discomforts is a sign of adaptation. You're not depriving your body, you're freeing it. And here's the truth. After 40, giving up sugar isn't about restriction. It's about removing friction. The body wants to heal, but sugar keeps it inflamed and confused. Once you take that interference away, the systems you thought were broken, your metabolism, hormones, sleep, focus, all start to cooperate again. In the next part, we'll explore what happens after that initial adjustment, how your body transforms over weeks and months, how your brain chemistry, energy, and even appearance evolve, and why this simple change can make you feel younger than you have in years. After the first few weeks without sugar, the body begins to settle into its new rhythm. The cravings that once felt overwhelming fade into the background, replaced by something else. Balance. Your taste buds, once hijacked by constant sweetness, start to reset. Suddenly natural foods taste richer. Fruit feels almost too sweet. Vegetables have more flavor. And water itself becomes satisfying. That change might seem small, but it's proof that your sensory system is recalibrating. For the first time in years, your brain and body agree on what real nourishment feels like. By the second month, the effects reach deeper. Your metabolism starts operating on a new foundation. With lower insulin levels, your body spends more time in fat-burning mode. Energy production shifts from glucose spikes to steady oxidation of fatty acids. That's why you stop feeling hungry every few hours. Your body has access to its stored energy again. The roller coaster of eating and crashing ends, replaced by a quiet steadiness. Even your mental focus mirrors that calm. Instead of chasing the next meal or snack, your brain becomes still, efficient, and sharp. This isn't just dietary one night, it's neurological. Every cell in your brain is now running on cleaner fuel. Over time, your inflammation markers drop further. The subtle aches you used to dismiss, stiffness in your fingers, soreness in your lower back, that dull pressure behind your eyes, begin to fade. Sugar triggers the release of cytokines, tiny messengers that keep your immune system in constant alert mode. When you remove that trigger, inflammation retreats. The effect ripples through your entire body. Joints move freely, recovery from exercise accelerates, and even your skin clears. Many people notice their face looks tighter, less puffy, and their eyes brighter. That's not cosmetic. It's circulation improving and fluid retention vanishing. Inside your blood vessels, real structural repair begins. Sugar causes a process called glycation, where sugar molecules attach to proteins and stiffen tissues, including arteries. When you stop feeding that process, your body slowly breaks down those damaged compounds. Your vessels regain flexibility, your blood pressure naturally lowers, and your heart works less to achieve more. This is why giving up sugar after 40 can be as powerful as medication for cardiovascular health. It restores elasticity, the hallmark of youth. The liver, too, continues to transform. With glycogen levels balanced and fat deposits shrinking, it becomes more efficient at metabolizing everything you eat. That means better hormone conversion, faster detoxification, and steadier cholesterol levels. You might notice that your digestion improves. Less bloating, fewer energy dips after meals, more consistent appetite. These aren't coincidences. They're the signs of an organ finally doing its job without interference. By the 3rd month, hormonal balance becomes visible. Testosterone levels rise, not dramatically but steadily. Estrogen dominance, a common issue in men and women over 40, begins to fade as fat tissue decreases and insulin stabilizes. Cortisol, once high and chaotic, now follows a natural curve, strong in the morning, calm at night. You feel more in control because your chemistry is no longer running on panic mode. Your libido improves, not just physically but emotionally. Energy and desire return, not as fleeting sparks but as constant fire. Sleep deepens further, and dreams become more vivid. Without late-night sugar, your blood sugar stays stable, allowing melatonin and growth hormone to rise uninterrupted. You fall asleep faster, stay asleep longer, and wake refreshed. This kind of rest compounds. With every night of true recovery, your body rebuilds itself more efficiently. Muscles regenerate, fat melts, the immune system strengthens. You no longer drag yourself through the day. You glide through it. Even your brain chemistry adapts. Studies show that long-term sugar consumption blunts the hippocampus, the area responsible for memory and learning. When you remove sugar, neuroinflammation decreases, and neurogenesis, the birth of new brain cells, increases. That's why people often describe the clarity that appears after a month without sugar as if a fog has lifted. You're literally thinking with a cleaner brain. Decision-making becomes easier, focus sharper, emotion steadier. The constant background anxiety that sugar secretly fuels through cortisol spikes begins to disappear. Your skin tells the story too. Glycation, the same process that stiffens arteries, also damages collagen and elastin, the proteins that keep skin firm and smooth. When sugar intake drops, collagen breakdown slows. The body starts to repair old damage, and you might notice fewer fine lines, less redness, more even tone. This isn't vanity. It's evidence that your cells are aging slower. You've turned down the volume on one of the biggest accelerators of visible aging. The transformation doesn't stop at the surface. Deep inside your mitochondria, the microscopic engines inside every cell, start multiplying. Sugar burns fast but dirty, producing oxidative stress. Fat burns slower but cleaner, signaling the body to create more mitochondria for efficient energy production. More mitochondria mean more endurance, focus, and longevity. That's why people who quit sugar often describe a return of vitality that feels disproportionate to the small change they made. It's not small, it's molecular. By 6 months, your entire body has recalibrated to a new baseline. Blood sugar remains stable throughout the day, energy feels consistent, and mood swings are rare. Cravings that once controlled you vanish entirely. Even in social settings, sugar no longer feels tempting, it feels unnecessary. Your body has switched from being reactive to being responsive. Instead of constantly fighting for balance, it maintains it naturally. This is metabolic freedom, and once you taste it, you'll never want to go back. But there's an even deeper shift: awareness. You start noticing how food affects you in real time. One sugary meal now feels heavy, almost foreign. You sense the drop in energy, the fog in your mind, the slight irritability that follows. This isn't sensitivity, it's clarity. You've reconnected with your body's feedback loop. Every system that sugar once numbed, your appetite, your hormones, your emotions, now communicates clearly. You're no longer chasing comfort. You're listening to truth. That's the real gift of quitting sugar after 40. It's not just about longevity, weight, or blood tests. It's about coherence. Every part of you working in sync. You think clearly, move freely, sleep deeply, and feel at ease in your skin. You stop compensating with caffeine or willpower because your body no longer needs saving. It's self-sustaining again. And while this transformation happens quietly, the people around you notice. They comment on your eyes, your posture, your calm. They sense something has changed. What they're seeing isn't just physical. It's the presence of energy that's no longer leaking away. Eventually, you realize something profound. You didn't quit sugar to restrict yourself. You did it to remember what being human feels like when nothing artificial interferes. Energy feels native, not borrowed. Mood feels stable, not managed. Hunger feels natural, not emotional. You've returned to balance, not by adding more, but by removing what didn't belong. And maybe the most important part, once you reach that point, you stop counting days. You don't say, "I've been off sugar for 6 months." You just live, because freedom isn't the absence of something. It's the return of everything you lost while chasing it.